Okay, so once you have recorded your Foley sound effect from Voice Recorder Pro, you want to download the software Adobe Auditions, which is a free software as a Ravensbourne student. This is a software that allows you to kind of edit sound, and it's really good software. It's obviously quite a complicated software, but we're not using it in a complicated way today. We just want to use a couple of functions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to download our sound that we've made. I did one by crumpling some paper, and you should be able to simply, here's my sound here. Now you should simply just be able to drag it into Adobe Auditions like that, and then you'll see that we have our sound wave. Now if you press the space bar, you'll be able to hear the sound wave. So let's have a listen. There you go. So we have our sound wave. So this is in waveform, so you can see the kind of individual sound wave that you've created. But what we want to work on is called multi-track. So if you go to the top left-hand corner, you'll see two choices, which is waveform and multi-track. If you click on multi-track and press OK, you will see that you have essentially a number of different tracks all laid over one another. Now you can simply to get your track onto multi-track, you can simply just push that over again. It might come up with some stuff, just click OK there. And the way to think about the multi-track and why it might be useful for some of you if you want to take this a bit further, I'm just extending that sound there, is that if you say wanted to record some audio, you could have the audio here underneath in track 2 and have track 1 as some sort of ambient sound, and that way you're kind of speaking over some ambient sound. So we want, for kind of good practice, we kind of want to work in multi-track. So but for today's purposes, we're just going to work on one track, which is our crumpled paper. Now, if you remember, what we're working with is 1 frame per second in our animatics. So we want to cut this down into a 1 second piece of audio. And to do that, really, you want to kind of listen to where you have the best kind of 1 second bit of audio. So if I press play again, you can see that my audio doesn't actually start until those sort of wave lines start to come up, obviously, because then it's registering the sound. So if you look at this time bar at the top, you've got 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So what I'm going to do is, because I think from 1 to 2 seconds I've got some quite good audio, I'm going to cut around that section there. So at the top here, you should see a toolbar, and what you want to do is click on that razor selected clips tool, which is essentially like a razor blade, right? And wherever you sort of put it on your SoundCloud, let's see if we can get that a little bit bigger, right? Wherever you place that on your SoundCloud, it's going to kind of cut the audio. If any of you have ever used Premiere Pro, it's the same kind of function. This is quite a similar software to Premiere Pro. So I'm going to click at that 1 second mark there, and you see it's kind of made a cut in there, and then I can go to my move tool. I can go back and select all that audio before the sound starts, and then I can just delete. And then I'm going to do the same at the 2 second timeline there, because remember I only want a second. Go back to my move tool, select the audio, and press delete. So there, if we select this audio here and we move it back to the beginning of our timeline, we have a second of audio that should sound a bit like this. So that's perfect. So what I've got there is I've got 1 second of audio that I am then going to place into After Effects. So before I do any of that, I obviously need to save this track, and to do that you want to go to File, you go to Export, Now, because we're in multi-track, you want to go to multi-track mix down, and then because we're only going to record this selected sound, this one wavelength, and make sure it is selected, you can do that by just clicking on it. I'm going to go to selected clips, so it will only record the clip here that's been selected. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to go to browse, and I'm going to make sure that I save this in the right place, and I have a file called audio. I'm going to name this paper so that I know what sound it is, and then I'm going to click save and OK. And hopefully, and let's have a little look, if I go back to my audio file, I now have a file called paper.